The doors to the Commonwealth Bank slowly parted, like the legs of a morally corrupt teenager. Caitlin hurried out of Kanye's flat and stopped at the corner. Taking a deep breath in and out, she was furious. Glancing back, she let the previous evening's events replay in her mind. Even by Kanye's warped standards, this was outrageous. The doors to the Commonwealth Bank across the street slowly closed. This time, like the legs of a teenager with slightly better moral grounding. Jenna had not got far up the street before her building anger towards Kanye's actions had boiled over, and she was now on her way back to confront him. As she reached the corner, she hesitated. Maybe it was her own fault. She was the one who had agreed to play high-stakes poker, and everybody knew if you lost to Kanye, he'd make you pay the price. Mindy and Pauline would make sure of that. They always did. Jenna hastily returned to the corner, and with her hands in her pockets, she thumbed at her penis. Her confidence was all gone. Maybe it was my fault, she thought, looking up the street. She replayed the final hand and the look on Kanye's face as Mindy and Pauline had held her down. Forfeit time, Kanye had grinned, before lopping off her boobies and grafting on a penis and a man's face and hair. "That's the forfeit, that's the forfeit," squealed Tom, Justin, and JZ, who had also been in attendance. It was all too much for Jenna. What a truly despicable cunt Kanye West is, she thought as she walked away. Justin Bieber and his manager, Mittens, were struggling with the cash machine as a Sydney freezer van, specialising in both dry and frozen goods, drove past. Mindy and Pauline laboured down the street. They were both wearing camouflage to try and blend in with their surroundings and look a little less fat. It wasn't working. As they crossed the road, they joked about how easy it was to hold Jenna down. "Arms like a little bird," Pauline grinned, making the flapping motions. Justin and Mittens were still struggling at the machine. Justin was gurgling madly as he pressed all the buttons in no particular order. Mittens had tried to explain a number of times, but it was no good. His dribbling had covered the fascia. "Right, that's it," Mittens proclaimed, leading a sticky Justin away. "Let's get you back to your cage." Mittens could see Justin was overtired from the previous night's party, and was also concerned that JZ had molested him while Kim and the girls had chatted in the kitchenette. "Ice cream," gurgled Justin. "Not this time," replied Mittens sternly. Katie Holmes pulled Tom Cruise along in a blue trolley. It was fair to say this was an odd scene, but Tom insisted on being pulled everywhere. Sometimes he would tease her about her fat legs until she pulled him faster, or down one of the curbs separating the pavement from the road. Katie had parked Tom outside of the Commonwealth Bank and was now fumbling around inside her bag looking for something. Katie took out a fresh Jacob's cracker from the packet in her bag and walked towards the machine. Crudely drawn in pen on its face was Katie's name and a series of numbers. She took a deep breath and jammed the cracker into the hole. The metal fascia was more than a match for the rigid biscuit, and it shattered, spilling crumbs all over the keypad. She tried a second and a third, having now well and truly jammed the hole for the machine. She pushed the strap of her bag back onto her shoulder and started to cry. "Why does this always happen to me?" she whispered, as Tom greedily hoovered up any crumbs that had made their way into his trolley. "Tom loves crumbs. Tom loves crumbs," he began to chant from inside the trolley. Exacerbated, Katie left the machine and kicked the trolley, wheeling it into the bank. "They are not going to be happy to see me again," she smiled through tears. "Hey, Kimbo!" Kim Kardashian and her dog Segway turned round to be greeted by Beyoncé Knowles. She was the last person Kim wanted to see. Segway let hot, steamy jets of piss spit from her dog vagina, covering the unsuspecting plants, before trying to walk away. She knew what was about to come, and she didn't want to be around to see it. "The thing about my arse, darling, is that it's always been this size. even before I was even born. Beyonce scratched her neck and touched her glasses. Segway sniffed at the floor and pulled a little on the lead. This was the last place she wanted to be, she thought, glancing across the road. "Stop," Kim interjected, forcing Beyonce to take a step back. "I've really had a hell of a morning. You saw what the boys were up to last night. I've spent all morning on my hands and knees scrubbing bits of Jenna out of the rug in the front room." Well, Beyonce was shocked by Kim's curt tone, but was not going to be deterred. This was a long time coming, and she really needed to make her point about her back bottom. Nicki Minaj hurried across the road. She could sense the building tension, and there was no way she was getting involved, particularly after her haircut. Things between Kim and Beyonce had escalated quickly and were about to boil over. "Do you see him?" she said, pointing at Segway. "I'll fuck him right up. That's what I'll do." Beyonce glanced around. "There's no one here. There's no one to protect you. No one's going to stop me, and I could just fuck the dog right up now, right in front of everyone." Victoria Beckham stood at the cash machine in a red coat. She was becoming increasingly perturbed about her card that had become stuck with what looked like crumbs. She had gone from cross and was now furious, but there was nothing she could do. Meanwhile, Beyonce had started getting silly, making outrageous gestures about her anal shape. Suddenly, she felt something hit her head. "Fucking Coldplay," she said. Chris Martin peered over, giggling. Without Gwyneth to control him, he had resorted to spunking off the balcony to pass the time. Victoria Beckham crossed the road, still clutching the rag she'd used to wipe away the crumbs. If she'd looked back, she would have seen crumb merchant Katie Holmes making her way across the road. She'd been right about the bank. They really were not pleased to see her. Eminem skipped jauntily across the road, wearing a bright blue hat that he'd been given by his physician, Dr. Dre's. "This hat makes me feel like a champion," he thought as he approached the cash point. He noticed only too late the thick, slimy coating left by Bieber, and he watched in horror as the machine refused to return his card. Fiddlesticks and curses! The card was firmly stuck, and despite concerted effort, it was going nowhere. And it was going nowhere fast. Beyonce was still mid-rant. "My arse is like a runway, damn it," she gesticulated wildly. "You can barely even see to the end." It was getting silly now, and Kim had had enough. "Why can't we just—" "Whatever," Beyonce said, interrupting and then folding her arms. "I'm never going to drop this. I'm never going to drop this until you say it." Eminem's card had long since gone, and he cursed as he walked across the street. He took out his phone and started typing the numbers that were written on the spittle screen. "In the event of Bieber," it had read. Kim lurched forward, causing Beyonce to step back. "Okay, fine. You win. Yours is better. Mine is foolish and out of proportion." "Ha!" Beyonce snorted. "You can't leave until you say it." "Say what?" Kim sighed, exacerbated, trying to cross the road to get away. "I think you know what," Beyonce said, still following. "You're really going to make me say it?" Kim paused. "Okay. I don't think I'm ready for the jelly." Beyonce tripped up the curb with glee. "That's all it took. See you later." Segway had never felt so ashamed. She was in no rush to get home.